guys, and warm welcome back to the channel. My name is Grace if you're new here, and this is 𝑍�👼🍆🋼 Studio. Or it kind of has been, not really, for like the last few weeks. Obviously, if you guys have been following along, I haven't been posting much lately. I think the last thing I did was this little frog pond painting. I've been really struggling with trying to figure out what to really put on the channel when I'm not actively selling my artwork at events and creating products to be sold, because I have all these ideas for when I get to my next location, but kind of nothing during this like time of transition and limbo. So for all of my new followers, hi, hello, and welcome. There's quite a few of you since even the beginning of the year, which is awesome. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers. It was my dream before I left here to get to 5,000, but I know that I haven't been super active, so even just being this close to hitting 3,000 is phenomenal. So if you guys haven't subscribed yet, I would really appreciate it if you did. If you find this video, it is kind of like an update video, so make sure you go check out some of my actual stuff. This is really just because I know I haven't come on here face to face and said anything for a little while, and I've got lots to tell you. I am sorry about the noise. Obviously, you know, I'm on an Air Force base, and this is just part of it. The jets, the air conditioning, because we're in Okinawa and it's hot as heck here. But my neighbors are also moving, so there's lots of noise outside, and today is the day that I have to film this video, so we're just gonna get it done. But yeah, so I have lots to follow you guys up with, like lots of stuff. So I want to start by kind of giving you a little bit more of a background on how I got to where I am. My husband and I met in 2007 at college. We were both art students. We started dating in 2008. We got married in 2012. And we bought a house in 2013. We, like a lot of people, bought a house because a mortgage was cheaper than, you know, like your typical rent or whatever, and that comes into play. So hang on to that nugget of info. And then in 2015, my husband decided that he wanted to join the Air Force. Now this isn't 100% out of left field. He's got family members and friends in the military. I can't say it was necessarily on his like list to do. It really wasn't, but the job market in Tennessee, especially where we are in like a rural area, wasn't great, and you couldn't see yourselves climbing up a ladder and getting in a better, more comfortable position with the kind of stuff that was available, especially as art students, and we knew that, but we weren't pursuing those things at the time because there weren't jobs for that. So yeah, he joined in 2015. He turned 30 in BMT, which is much later than usual. You know, you've got typically 18 to 20-year-olds are like your majority of people joining, but you know, older people joining is like a completely normal thing. It's just not super typical as far as, you know, your everyday enlistee. So once we decided that, obviously, one of the bigger reasons was because we were in student loan debt, and again, the job market wasn't amazing. We had a house and we were paying bills just fine, but you know, there was no like free flowing cash of any kind to do anything extravagant or fun, or, you know, outside of like a movie theater kind of thing. And you know, we wanted more, and this was something that he had to kind of jump on at the moment because there is an age cutoff for the military. But anyway, back on track. Joined in 2015, and we had every intention of getting out in those 4 years, but we couldn't really figure out where we wanted to go or what we wanted to do afterwards. We just knew we weren't going back to Tennessee. So we struggled with that there towards the end of the first enlistment and decided to extend for a year, which is something that you can typically do at every rank that you get, which we have just recently found that out. But yeah, so the 1 year extension brought us to 2020, and we all know what happened in 2020. And our extension was up in May and lockdown started in March. And we were just kind of like, this does not seem to be the time to get out. Not only were, there was a pandemic happening, but the job markets and things like that, because so many jobs were affected by it, we just weren't sure what to do. So he re-enlisted for another 4 years because that's the minimum amount and he'd already used his extension. So that brings us to getting orders for here. So we were still at 侯𝋼🼼, our last base in New Mexico. And when we got the orders, he had to have a certain amount of retainability. And because we were already some way into that 4-year re-enlistment, we had to have a little extra amount tacked on at the end, which is what will bring us to November of this year. Now, if you've been following the channel, you guys know that we have been making plans for like the last 3 years, basically since I started all of this, to go to Minneapolis. That's been the plan for a really long time, and I've been modeling a lot of what I'm doing here based on the knowledge of what I will have access to in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. I've been saving all of my money from YouTube and from all of my events here on our Air Force Base in Okinawa, and building that knowing I will have the money to, hit the ground running when I get back stateside. But some things have changed for the better. Granted, I think a little bit of us died inside when we made our final decision, but again, I'll get to that in just a second. But it's been a very interesting couple of weeks because we had just recently hit our 180 days out. And I'm not sure about the other branches, but in the Air Force, this is a significant time period because that's when you actually start doing the work for the out processing. You have to hit the proverbial button and let Big Air Force know that you're not planning on re-enlisting, so they don't need to give you an assignment or anything like that. You have to start doing your medical stuff, your disability things, your all of your out processing stuff. We were building resumes, and he was doing mock interviews and stuff like that to get ready. We went through TAPS, which is a program for exiting the Air Force back into the civilian world, and all this other stuff. But then he made tech. So he's currently a staff sergeant. And for those of you who don't understand the whole military thing, and I am sorry I'm going into detail on this, but you have to understand why we have made the decisions we've made, and that kind of really affects what I'm doing here, because now I have no idea where we're going or what we're doing or what I will have access to, or if I'm even going back to the States, or maybe we're not even staying in this area. Maybe we go to Europe. I really don't know yet. But that's why we're having this conversation now. To say I am proud is an understatement. He absolutely deserves to make tech. This is the last testing rank. Like, you have to test to make staff, you have to test to make tech. But then after this, it goes to like a board, and people kind of vote on you, I guess. Take a lot of this with a grain of salt. I know what I know simply from asking questions, so I'm sure there's nuances that I'm not 100% hitting. But the thing is, retiring at staff, which is something he definitely didn't want to do, and retiring at tech, which is a lot more beneficial, is a huge difference. So we had to take into consideration the fact that he made tech literally as we were trying to hit this button, and we kept hitting walls. He had to do an audio test. He had to fill out paperwork on a different website, and it just seemed like we were getting the runaround for those first couple of days of trying to get this process of out processing started. And then, the commander comes in and tells him that he's made technical sergeant, and we kind of had to think about that for a really hot minute. We took the rest of the week and the weekend and came up with the fact that our economy isn't great right now. It is a pay raise, but it's not that much of a pay raise. It is, however, a much better retirement pay if we decide to do the full 20. Currently, we are playing with that idea, but we are basically just going to reconvene in 4 years and see where that takes us. That's kind of how we've been playing it this whole time. Unfortunately, the military has very, very great timing for themselves, and they really know how to keep you in. So if you're thinking about joining, just know that they will throw stuff at you when you least expect it. And I say that because of course he tested and of course he wanted to, you know, do well and all that kind of stuff, but the percentages and all of the stuff that goes into whether or not he makes tech is not 100% based on his test alone. So there's never a guarantee. Just because you did well on the test last year doesn't mean that doing that well on the test this year will get you anywhere. I could go into that for, you know, like a week in detail just because it's that convoluted sometimes, but I digress. He also has been doing very well and making, you know, good buddies. And I mean, we're 10 years in, but getting awards and things like that, you know, certain bases don't really like to see you succeed, but others do, and he's done very well here. He just got his CDL license, or well, the equivalent, the military equivalent of tractor trailer license, and I would just hate to see him throw so much of that away just because we were really excited about the lifestyle in Minnesota. Now on my side, I have, my accomplishments are completely different, so laugh if you want to, but I did just win 3rd place in the Air Force Arts Contest for the Adult Accomplished section for my watercolor, this little guy right here, which I painted a while ago, but the prompt was winter, and that's what I had, and I did a couple little touch-ups on it and then sent it in, and I won, so that's cool. But yeah, things have just been good, and I would hate for us to lose that momentum, especially right now. With the current administration, I'm not sure how things are going to go. The tariff thing is kind of a big scary thing for me because a lot of the things I wanted to make and produce, you know, a lot of it, unfortunately, especially enamel pens and stuff, a lot of that kind of thing is produced in China. And I am looking for US-based things for what I can, but I'm a little bitty creator, and spending 3 times what I could be really hurts my pocket, and also just, you know, it sucks all around in general. And I have been trying to figure out how I'm going to make the kind of money I need, that I feel like I need to make when I get to Minnesota to help with whatever job insecurities there may be for him when he gets there. And of course I can always, you know, have my own job, my own 9 to 5. I would always want to do that if we needed it, but he does not want me to have to do that. And I mean, I wouldn't if I didn't have to, because I really love what I do. But that is kind of, I guess, the whole update. What I'm trying to say is we are not getting out of the Air Force. We're not getting out of the military. We are not going to Minnesota. We are not moving to Minneapolis. It is July. Our contract is up here in November. And sometime between him re-enlisting in this next week or so and the end of the year, we'll be somewhere else. And we have no idea where that's at. And I won't have any updates for probably at least a couple of months on it. And now I don't know what I should be doing. So it's going to be sporadic these next couple of months. I would love to do like a house tour and a walkthrough and what I'm packing. And we have this thing called, so we have your household goods, which is like everything that you own. And then your unaccompanied stuff is 500 pounds of things that you want to send ahead of time so that it's actually already there in your new area before you have to wait for all of your stuff. So I'm going to probably do a video on what I'm packing in that for my business. It can't be like a bunch of equipment and things. It's going to have to mostly just be materials, I think. But yeah. So I would love to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. We are doing this because I feel like the universe kind of told us to, but also we really weighed our options. The pros and cons list was so neck and neck. It was almost 50-50 for getting out versus staying in, but this is the safe choice. This is the, in my opinion, smarter choice. It's not the lifestyle we would like to really continue, but I think this next base we move to, we're going to try and live more like we would have in Minneapolis if we can. One of the big things was like public transportation and stuff, and a lot of, you know, military bases just don't have that. If they do, it's in combination with the town, and if the town is big enough, then maybe it's okay, but either way, things are changing, and I just wanted everybody to know. And I am trying to come up with maybe a project or something I can do in the meantime, so if you guys have any ideas, drop them in the comment section down below. I would love to know what you guys think. Do you want me to continue doing little paintings like this for a little while, and then eventually maybe I can put them up on my website for digital downloads or for prints or things like that? I have been diligently working on what I want to do when I get back stateside, and I have a PO box and we can actually send out things, and I'm not just working at like pop-ups and stuff, because that is also probably going to change. Kadena is really great about that because we are very isolated out here and obviously in another country, and we can't use our post office. So I might not have as much access to like art events and things like that like I do here, but I will have the post office, which is something we've talked about on this channel a lot. So yeah, it's great in a lot of ways. It sucks in a few ways. I'm extremely happy and proud for him, and you know, there is excitement of not knowing where we're going. I'm a little bit freaked out because I'm tired of being hot, and they've sent us to 2 hot places in the last 10 years, and I'm really, really crossing my fingers that this one has 4 seasons or snow or, you know, anything that isn't the desert or the jungle. So pray for me, send out the good vibes. And yeah, I would just really love to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I'm sorry this is a big talking head. We'll get back into the art. I am kind of pulling myself out of this funk that I've been in, this limbo thing. I have really bad health anxiety, and something happened a couple of months ago that, well, several months ago, that kind of put me into a spiral, and I'm coming out of that because things are good. And yeah, it's just all looking up, and I'm excited. And here's your update. Tell me what you guys think. I will hopefully see you next week for another video. Bye, guys.